Hi everyone, my name is Madeline. I hope you're not squeamish because I'm going to talk about earwigs. Now, I used to work in a lab that studies earwigs and I learned a few things. For example, they're not actually this big. The ones that live around here are about a centimeter long, and they've got these wicked-looking spikes on the end, but they're not really that harmful. And contrary to popular belief, they won't climb in your ear. At least they're not more likely to than any other bug. They, like bees, are insects. And what I find really interesting about them is how they fall in love. So fall, this time of year, is the time that earwigs usually mate. A male earwig runs into a female earwig. He caresses her with his pinchers. This is tactile stimulation, and she really likes it. Then he whips out his penis. It is long as his entire body. Oh, and he has two of them. So they might not have their babies right away. After all, she can store his sperm in a special organ called a spermatheca. But when they're ready, when they've really thought about when it's the right time, they'll build a nest about 2 centimeters deep in the soil or under some rotten wood. So one thing that's important to know about earwigs is there's actually two kinds of males. This is called the major male morph. And you can tell that it's the sort of alpha male by its rounded pinchers. It's the one every girl wants. Then there's the minor male morph. It has this less robust pinchers, but it has an important advantage, which is that it's less susceptible to parasites, and it seems like it's less susceptible to infections. So females can choose between the big, strong males when times are good, and these survivor males when times are rough. And this increases the species survival overall. So, back to the nest. Earwigs are surprisingly good moms. Unlike a lot of species that lay their eggs and skedaddle, the earwig mom is obsessive. She licks those eggs to get fungal spores off, and she rotates them constantly to make sure they're at a good temperature. If a pesky scientist were to give her a wax ball the size and shape of an egg, she'll take care of it until she realizes it doesn't quite smell right. And if you scatter her eggs around, she'll gather them up into a tidy clutch. And if two female nests get mixed up, they will actually take care of each other's eggs or steal each other's eggs. And this maternal care, this obsessive helicopter momming, actually pays off. Eggs that are reared by a female have a much higher viability. And the earwig moms stay with their eggs even after they hatch during several molts as they age. They stay with them till they're till they're past a very vulnerable state called a nymph. This is a nymph. I'm a little squeamish, and so I'll admit I don't like this, at least not this big. And in fact, the earwigs you're most likely to see around here are called European earwigs. They're actually an invasive species. But we have more than 1,700 earwig species around the world. And in fact, earwigs are not the only good moms in the insect kingdom. Cockroaches are also very good moms. So I wanted to get some good pictures of earwigs for you all. And so my husband and I, isn't he cute? We went out and took some pictures behind our apartment. We have a canyon back there. We were lifting up rocks and pieces of wood where we might see earwigs. And this is something I thought might be an earwig nymph, like we saw earlier, but it was actually a termite. It was a very dry and very hot day, so we didn't spend a long time out there. But we found a very cool-looking mushroom, and there was a group of teenage pot smokers coming out of the canyon, and they saw us poking around, and one of them asked, cool, is there a snake? And we said, no, we're looking for earwigs, and they weren't quite sure how to respond to that. But poking around and lifting up rocks reminded me of when I was a kid, and I would spend hours and hours outside catching bugs in jars and catching bees in jars, even though I'm allergic to bees. And I really missed that, I realized. And if you were like me as a kid, I'm guessing you missed that too. And so let's see, a lot of the presentations end with how to learn more. I don't know, go outside, or at least go on Wikipedia. The animal world is makes ours look boring. Did you know that wombats poop square poops? You can Google that on your phone right now. It's true. Did you know that there are blood-sucking vampiric moths? And did you know that on the bottom of the ocean, on the ocean floor, flatworms sword fight with their dual penises? It's true. Thank you.